In this segment, Stephanie Miller welcomes Dr. Redliner back to the program. Here's Stephanie.
Calm times here. God bless you. Keep you safe on your trip tonight. This, speaking of politics here being insane, this just really must make you crazy. Just this morning, we love our MSNBC. You're on all the time. Diane tweeted, this is to Morning Joe, you allowed DeSantis to say without clarification that Biden, quote, green-lighted an incursion in Ukraine. Hello? Biden did not. Context is everything. I mean, you just saw, who was it? Tuberville, some idiot, saying that Biden and the Democrats got us into this war in Ukraine and in the Middle East. And you're like, wait, what? I mean, Go ahead.
They're ignorant. They're clowns, and who would even pay attention to them except they control everything?
Yeah.
Where we spend our money, how we function as a government, whether the government stays open. And they are in positions of power and influence where they could just spout, oh, God, I wish this wasn't a family show.
Yes.
Let's just say BS. You can say that at least,
yes,
can't we?
Can.
Yes, you can.
It's absolute misinformation and garbage that comes out in the way of messaging from people that we're supposed to depend on for truth as best we know it. And making up stuff for political gain is so irresponsible. It's just phenomenally irresponsible. And by the way, just in case we didn't have enough, George Santos is allowed to remain in Congress after this lying, pathological donut here, has been completely dishonest about everything in his entire life.
Doc,
there you go.
I know, and I look at you, and you are a renowned, not just pediatrician, but humanitarian, and, you, like Biden, are like, we can care about Ukrainian children and Israeli children and Palestinian children all at the same time. Like the Republicans, once again, are divisive. Let's not stand by Ukraine. We'll give money to Israel, but not Ukraine. I mean, they find new ways to try to divide us every day, don't they?
Oh, they certainly do. It's like, how many times and how many ways can you reiterate this notion that Russia, a completely totalitarian, out of control country right now with a huge nuclear arsenal, is fighting against Ukraine, who are standing at the gate of democracy, trying to make sure that Russia is not allowed to arm itself and invade neighboring countries. So, there should be no question about our support for them, and there should be no question about our push for trying to end this nightmare in the Middle East. We should be able to do all of those things.
And it shouldn't be partisan. Lincoln Project tweeted, we are at an inflection point in history. Trump and the MAGA GOP want to return the favor to Putin for his election interference. POTUS and the Democrats want to uphold freedom and democracy. Will we emulate Chamberlain, or will we stand strong against a monstrous dictator? In Putin, I mean, it's
well said.
Yeah, no, exactly. Doc, whenever we all wade into this Middle East stuff, but you said Israel rescuing hostages, eradicating Hamas, and simultaneously protecting civilians is truly impossible. Not that Hamas should be allowed to exist after 10/7 savage attack on Israelis, but Netanyahu is intent on creating regional war to save his political life. He's got to go. That's what we were just saying. I stand with the Palestinian people. I stand with the Israeli people. I don't like the leadership of either of them, and don't think they're partners for peace. But again, Chris, I think you asked this question yesterday. I don't know the answer. The way Hamas has set things up and used, civilians as human shields, I don't know how you eradicate, Hamas without any civilian casualties. And yet it's all just devastating. The whole thing is heartbreaking.
It is, and people say, well, why don't the Palestinians just choose other kinds of leadership? You can't. They don't have elections.
17 years ago, they had an election.
Right.
They're not allowed.
You speak out as a normal Palestinian person trying to raise your family, go to school.
Hamas is not just holding Israeli and American hostages. They're holding the Palestinians hostage.
The world they're holding hostage now, and they know how to do it. Unfortunately, there's 240 hostages they're holding, putting their command centers, Hamas is, in hospitals, schools, wherever else, is setting it up so that in order to deal with them, we have to, not we, but somebody determines that we have to kill children and families, and that's
Yeah.
We're
And that's why,
beyond the kind of moral bounds that we should be adhering to.
and Doc, that's why it's so important how the mainstream media reports. You know, like the hospital that was bombed, that went around the world to inflame anti-Israeli passion, and it turns out it was not an Israeli, rocket. This Malcolm Nance was yesterday pointing out that this is not a refugee camp. This was Gaza City, where again Hamas deliberately put civilians. They also killed a lot of Hamas leaders in this strike. But I think all humans are rightfully horrified watching this whole thing. As Chris said, nobody wants to see a Palestinian child carrying another dead Palestinian child somewhere. I mean, the whole thing is just. Go ahead.
And what's spilling over onto U.S. campuses is poisonous.
Yeah.
And the rise in anti-Semitism. We have just kind of an uncovering of some deep-seated hatred that is coming to the fore right now. I don't know how all that's going to be put back in the bottle here in the U.S., in Europe, and the rest of the world too. So, the ripple effects. They're more than ripple effects. They're tidal effects. Of the conflict in the Middle East has spread everywhere in every corner of our civilization. And it's horrendous that Hamas had the power